Sometimes, I wonder if things will ever be normal again.
I look forward to seeing what you can do.
Alright, hello again everyone. Today I'm going to be talking about Eternights, a brand new game that just came out on September 22nd, I believe, just very recently. First ever game by a new company, Studio Sai, and this is one of those games that I have been interested in and excited, and I knew I wanted from second one. The art style, the music, the characters, the Persona-esque nature. I instantly knew that I'd be getting this game, but I also was very aware that I don't have the best track record when it comes to these heavy anime style games. They always look interesting to me, but are also very hit or miss with quality. The story starts off with a blank main character that you name, and you're making a dating profile with your friend Shani. You're swiped right by a cute girl who asks you out on a yacht date. I don't know what more I could possibly have to say about that. But on your way to meet her, suddenly a huge magical wall appears all across the city, people turn into violent monsters, a girl cuts off your arm, a new girl gives you a sword for an arm, or at least now you can transform into a sword, and you are tasked to side with a god to take down another and maybe find love along the way. Which I know sounds like the most anime plot in the world. Like Persona, you'll have a specific amount of days to do your tasks in between and make sure social connections to learn more about the other characters, their struggles, and gain stats and stuff alongside that. I can't say much without going into heavy spoilers, so I'll keep the story vague. The character interactions, however, is one of my favourites ever. I'm not one to find a lot of games funny. I'm struggling to think of any South Park games, I guess. Some Final Fantasies a little bit, but I guess the Ratchet and Clank games are some of the top, but it's not a strong area for me to recommend. I don't find a lot of games funny overall, at least not impactfully funny, nothing I'd remember after a few minutes. But I love the interactions between the characters and find myself laughing out loud quite often. It's just the energy and fun and the banter between these characters that takes me off guard just enough. Sometimes intentionally, sometimes I'm genuinely not even sure. I will say the humor probably won't be for everybody. It's really stupid. It has a very old school anime feel to it. And I mean that in a lot of ways. Like your character will walk in on a girl changing. They'll have weird conversations, but they'll have that kind of old school anime, stupid, pervy humor thing. But if you like that stuff, you're probably going to have a ball with this game. Your main character is basically, like I said, just a blank slate for you to make for your choices in dialogue. And as you make choices, you can sometimes be nice, sometimes you be sarcastic, sometimes you be weirdly mean. But it's basically a blank slate. Chani is your typical silly, high-energy childhood best friend goofball. And you meet up with Yuna, who is a hugely popular idol, but who you meet early on, and who Chani is a huge fanboy of. And naturally, you recruit more characters too, but that's half the fun. You meet them pretty early on, but I won't go into all of them. And while they do sound like your typical JRPG anime archetypes, and in many ways they are, I did find myself falling in love with them, and if it wasn't for such great characters and interactions between them, I do think this game would have flopped for me. And one thing I really do love is that some of the decisions you make actually do kind of come back too. Like your choices aren't hugely impactful, but just little things I appreciate. Like at the beginning of the game you have two choices between two lockers. I hid in one with Yuna instead of Chani. And later in a moment in a school where you end up in a locker again with Yuna, she asks about it. It's small, but it's a massively appreciated thing when you do notice them. The story and characters even got me weirdly emotional a few times. I had a few occasions of laughing one minute, because of how fucking stupid things were, and I mean that in the absolute best way. Whenever I use the word stupid in this game, I mean it as a massive positive. This game is fucking all out there. But then at the drop of a hat, I can just see myself getting misty-eyed, quiet, and just having to take it all in.
Thanks for listening, dude. I know you already have a lot on your plate. Are we cool?
I love you, man. Aww. True, bro. It was beautiful. I thought it was the joke answer. It's kind of why I picked it. I was like, no, I love you too, man. The fact that it can make me care about characters 10 seconds after some really dumb moments is just a testament to how much they made me care about them. Really, the story, it's nothing. You learn about the drug at the start, and it doesn't even, it kind of comes into play once at the end. It's based, the story, the game really is just mostly hours on a train talking to people. That's why so if it was just, like I said, if it wasn't for such great characters and interactions between them, this game would have been a flop, because the story is not enough to keep it going without the characters being so great. But they were. It's a weird noise going on there in the background.
Guys, remember the picture I took? I think it could... What's going on?
Wow, is he out of the loop? Gameplay wise, it's just a mix between hack and slashy combat and just regular slow walking around to interact with characters in between battle sections. Again, you know Persona, you know this game. At least in terms of the non-battle part. And that's not just me being mean, like, oh, it's just a Persona rip-off kind of thing. They're pretty open about it. They even describe it in their website to show it's Persona style kind of thing, so it's not like I'm just calling it a rip-off. I do think it takes some of the best aspects of Persona. You spend most of your time in the train hub area, where you will stay with your companions or choose to leave for the wall, which is your overall goal of any given time. For the most part, where you have, it's similar to like palaces from Persona or any of the things like that. We have a certain amount of days, and then if you do it straight away, you can spend time with your friends, or you can choose it whenever you want. Each day is divided into day or night, and the day you can generally spend time with the friends. You're getting closer to them, bonding with them more, and having a little event to get closer. While in nighttime you'll spend time either scavenging for random items they might decide they want, like basically searching glowing points for one of three locations, from the library, the warehouse, and the convenience store, to find items for a character, which would be anything from plushies or snacks to dirty magazines and flamethrowers. It's random, it's weird, but yeah. And you'll just find items in points to upgrade abilities, stats, whatever for battle. You can also do some kind of mini games with each character. It's different for each one, such as breathing exercises with Yuna, which is honestly way more fun than it has any right to be. Oh, I get you.
Just don't cough, okay?
Or even a Final Fantasy VII Remake style squats game. Oh, this really is Final Fantasy VII squats. Love the pain, love the pain. And while these are very, very fun at first, unfortunately they don't change at all. There's no extra difficulty, no extra stages, no change up. If you do it once and finish it once, you're going to experience it the same every time. It'd be cool if the squats did things like alternated buttons, or it got harder, anything to vary them. But no, that is one of my very few faults with this game, is that the minigames are the same every time. It's a huge shame. And while we're on that topic, there are some fun minigames and stuff too in the world, such as memory pathways, filling squares, some fun number puzzles, weird DDR minigame. Excuse me? They're not all perfect, of course, but they add a fun variety to the game that really helps a lot more than you would expect. It's just a little thing every once in a while to keep you curious and interested in what they might make you do next. And this variety does keep up throughout the game for new little things. And I always love fun little mini games like this to just mix things up and help break up the same thing over and over. Since I just mentioned, it's actually one of my favourite things about stuff like the original Final Fantasy VII, just the random little mini games they throw at you every once in a while. And if I can compare it to that in any way, I think that's a plus. And when you do go to break down the walls, you will make your way through a dungeon area, which brings me into probably the weakest aspect of this game overall, the combat. It starts off fine and simple enough, and overall it's what you would expect from a few seconds of seeing it. Slash with square to do some combos, X roll out of the way, which can be done at the perfect time for a slowdown. You can parry, special moves, partner skills like healing or stunning enemies. And there's elemental attacks you can do if you dodge or attack enough, to often use to break shields from stronger enemies. And of course you get more attacks, upgrades, stat boosts from leveling your social links. It's not awful, it's just a little bit janky. It's slightly too unpredictable. This fucking microphone is heavier than my last one. Oh my god. Slightly too unpredictable and slow at times, and there can be a huge problem with detecting and avoiding enemy attacks, and sometimes even if you do, you can try to dodge but you're stuck in an animation for too long. Sometimes enemies even seem to just be getting attacked and instantly strike you in like half a second, I swear. And sometimes I swear I could hold L2 to bring up my special attack command wheel, and it would take about 5 seconds to bring it up. I'm gonna be honest, the best way I can describe my issues with the battle system, it almost feels like you're playing a more turn-based command, but the enemies are playing a full-on action game. That's how it feels sometimes, but like I said, not too awful. I just feel like a tiny improvement could enhance the game quite a bit. But the enemy design in terms of combat and look are pretty decent. Some hit, some spray, some mini bosses even come out to make you fight a bit harder, and you will have shields around, like I said. Things like shields and elemental weaknesses to mix things up. However, it does get better as you go on. You get new moves and abilities, and you improve, and your stats will raise. Never exactly amazing, but definitely okay. And boss fights aren't exactly anything to write home about, but they can be incredibly intense, but they do fight in ways normal enemies won't. And later encounters and bosses can be unbelievably intense. Like, you will feel your heart pounding at times. Like the first boss, I had it down to like 1 HP and I was nearly dead. I couldn't even see the health bar. And those are the moments that you're going to remember. When you're this close to winning or losing, you're 1 hit in, it will just get your heart pounding in all the best ways. The graphics and the game's look is fine, I guess. It has a similar style to me to Blue Reflection, which is going to also be very heavily compared to Persona, with a washed out and kind of weirdly empty feel to it. Not even necessarily in a bad way, just kind of a blurred emptiness, if that makes any sense to anybody. I can't say any location really stands out to me, except for some areas at the end that have a fucking amazing colour to it. And it's just, the vibe of glass areas are really cool. But really, it's fine. But there are some art pieces in this game, some character portraits, and the occasional fully animated cutscene that are fucking beautiful. Sometimes when they do like the full 2D art for anything, some of my favourite shots in the entire game. I miss it so much when games like Final Fantasy used to have occasionally throughout the game, especially in the PS1 era, just these maxed out high fidelity FMVs, things that look better than anything else in the game would. Kind of like what Final Fantasy 15 does at the start, or how the Kingdom Hearts games at the start to the end. So when games do it nowadays, it's an easy way to give a huge bonus for me. I appreciate it so much more than I can express. There aren't as many as I would have liked at how much I expected from the start of the game, but when they do, it gets me so fucking excited. So fucking excited. And the music for the game, it's serviceable. For the most part, it's pretty unnoticeable, but I will say there are a few occasions where it is fun, epic. Here it is. Again. There are a few occasions where it does get really great. I mentioned that Yuna is a pop star, sometimes she will sing some songs. What's your favourite song, Yoonji? There was one really phenomenal boss theme, and the ending song is really fucking nice. There are, again, they are few and far between, which is disappointing considering the vibe the trailer's theme gave off. I was expecting more great music, but
Don't you want science in your corner? Oh, ew.
Not as consistent as I would like, but when it hits good. So I guess it's a trade-off. And there's no awful music, so I guess if it's average to great all the time, can't complain too much, right? In the end, it comes together really nicely. You get a different ending depending how you bond with the characters. I don't think anything changes besides little parts and sections at the end, so you can probably just get all the characters close to full bond and then replay the final few days if you wanted to see all the endings, but I doubt there's much reason to play through the whole game all the way through again in terms of story or choices. Even if you do get a new game plus, but just in terms of the story, which is the main draw of this game, I don't think there's much of a change. So overall, I did genuinely love this game a lot. It's easily been one of my most impactful and emotionally connected I felt to a game in a long ass time. It took me roughly 13 hours, and realistically I can't imagine playing through it the whole way again anytime soon. I want to see other characters' events and endings and more scavenging events and stuff, but because, like I said, the character relationships and interactions are without any doubt the biggest draw to this game for me. The story could basically be summed up in about 20 seconds if you ignore that part. I feel like most people will, if they do everything, maybe get around 20 hours. If you play on a hard mode, you could probably get, I'm sure you could get more, but with this combat system I'm hesitant. My biggest advice to anyone who isn't sure about getting this game: watch like a 10-20 minute no commentary playthrough. If you like what you see, if you find it funny, definitely grab it. I think you're going to have a great time. It is a budget title. They didn't release it even close to full retail price. It's like I got it for like 30, I think. If you find it okay, maybe give it a shot or wait for a sale. If the character interactions do nothing for you, I'd say pass on this completely. The gameplay will probably not be the thing to save it for. I don't think the gameplay is going to save this for anybody. Like I said, it's serviceable, but I think I mentioned in a video about the games I was excited for this month. If the story and characters are good enough, the gameplay being just fine will be enough for me. The final verdict for Eternights: I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. This might be high for some people, but the game just oozed charm for me at every single turn. I can think of very little to actually be bothered by. Again, the mini games being exactly the same can suck and make them really suck the fun out of doing them more than once. And sometimes the battle system can be frustrating and janky as hell. And if you die, the sword can take about 5 seconds to be pulled out before you start battle. So unless you're vigilant and really keep track of that, you'll be entering battle a few times in the end with an enemy attacking you, and you'll still be waiting for you to use your weapon to draw it out. And then you'll be hit before you can. But really, there's not much to be upset by. It's easily going to be one of my favourite games of 2023. And even if it's most likely not going to get a ton of attention, I think Studio Sai did an amazing job at it, which I'm pretty sure is at what I am pretty sure is their first game. I cannot wait to see what comes from them next. Whether they work on Eternights more or a new project entirely, there's few companies I'm this excited to see more from. I already have my pre-order in for the physical game, which is releasing in November. Also at a budget price as long as you live in the US, I think. It costs a bit more for me because international shipping. But sometimes I just like to have it physically, even if I already have the digital download version. The only other game I've ever done that for is Final Fantasy VII Remake, so that might tell you something how much this game hit me, and how special it really was. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I know it's weeks late when this released, but I just wanted to talk about this little gem that will likely be buried under this already amazing lineup of this year. I think it deserves the love. As always, let me know if you played it, what you thought about it, if you plan to pick it up in the future. And please feel free to like or comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. It apparently helps. Thank you once again for watching, and I will see you for the next one. See you then.